Hey guys, my name is Madeline James. I'm coming to you from my dining room today. Go ahead and grab some coffee or tea or whatever you'd like to drink. I just wanted to spend a couple moments just to do this devotional with you and call it Moments with Mads. I hope just to encourage you and lift you up and just to encourage you to keep going in your walk with the Lord. Today I just wanted to talk to you about, why do we experience attacks in our life? I know in my experience, I usually experience warfare and spiritual attacks when I'm moving forward, I'm making progress, I'm stepping into a piece of the destiny that God has for me, and the enemy doesn't want me to. He wants to push back, he wants to send resistance, so I don't step into those places where God has called me to. John 10:10 says that he's come to kill, steal, and destroy. So he's not out to play nice. He wants to take you out. He doesn't want you to realize who you are in Christ. Because the more, revelation that we get of who we are in Him, the greater, the progress and the realization of what God has called us to, that we can step into. I know in my life, the enemy has used fear and intimidation as a weapon when I'm making progress. Anytime I know that I'm getting ready to step into, a new season or a new place in the Lord, the enemy will use fear against me to doubt, myself, or maybe doubt, what I heard from God, or doubt the ability that God has given me. That's all just, an intimidation tactic, and, we have to speak the word in our life and speak truth and what God has called you to be. 1 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given me the spirit of fear, but a spirit of love and power and a sound mind. And anything that God has called you to, He's already given you the ability put inside you. It's just a matter of tapping into that. So I just want to encourage you to not let the enemy intimidate you. You do have what it takes, and that's why the enemy fights you so hard. He wants you to believe that you don't have what it takes, that you can't do what God has, called you to do. And a part of that is, too, that, we can't do it all on our own. We need God, and there's a part of our weakness that God, will use so that He can be glorified. But we shouldn't let that stop us. We shouldn't let fear, hold us back. And, sometimes attacks are just a distraction, really. Sometimes they're not even meant to, intimidate us or to take us out. Sometimes they're just noise. The enemy wants us to get our eyes off of the Lord and onto, ourselves or our circumstances or what's going on around us. When we're not focused in the Lord, we're not going towards our goal and towards, what He's called us to. So we just have to put our blinders on and we have to learn to pick our battles. And just say, not today, devil. You're not getting me. I'm going forward. I'm not going to be distracted. I'm going to set my mind on the things that are above and just move forward. And another thing the enemy tries to use when he attacks us, he wants us to give up. A lot of times when we're given prophetic words, there's a process that we go through. It's not immediately that, that we see the fulfillment of it. And a lot of times, the enemy wants us, to wear us down. He wants us to think that, God has forgotten about us, that maybe we heard wrong, or that maybe we messed it up, somehow. And a lot of times, we become weary in well-doing, and we give up. I know a lot of people that they gave up. They didn't see the fulfillment of what was spoken over their life, and they forfeited, the promise of God in their life. And I don't want that for you. I want you to keep pushing forward. I want you to move forward in the things that God has, called you into. And, we have to, it says in 1 Timothy, 1:18, Paul encouraged Timothy to use the prophetic words that were spoken over him, to war with them, to use them as a weapon, against the enemy. We have to remind ourselves, and we have to remind the enemy of what God has spoken over us. The more that we speak those promises, the more life, we speak into that word and into ourselves, and it encourages our spirit, to keep going forward. And we have to I think a lot of times, we give up because, it didn't turn out, the way that we thought it was going to turn out. A lot of times, we had this expectation in our mind of how we think this is going to play out, and it doesn't. God just blows it out of the box, and so we have to learn to walk by faith, and we got to use our spiritual eyes and our spiritual ears to hear and to see, what God is saying. And just because, it doesn't happen the way that the Word said it would, doesn't mean that God is not in it. We just have to encourage ourselves and spend time with the Lord. And, a lot of times, God doesn't want to be put in a box. He wants to amaze you. It says in Ephesians 3:20 that He can do, anything more than what we can think or imagine. And so God can't be put in a box. So you just have to trust Him. God knows what He's doing, and the enemy will get us to believe that God's forgotten about you, or that it's not going to happen. Just forget about it. We can't listen to the voice of the enemy. We have to speak truth in our life. So today, I just wanted to encourage you a little bit, just to keep, pressing forward, keep fighting, the good fight of faith, and not to get discouraged, when warfare comes against you. Let it encourage you, let it confirm that, God is doing awesome things in your life, and the enemy is trying to stop it. And just know that God is for you, and He's not against you. Your best days are ahead.